is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from Zoom again, and this time we are here with Juan Brujo of the almighty Brujeria. It is great to be able to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the show today, man.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Good to be here.
There we go.
Don't worry.
It's so awesome to have you here, man. Thank you so much for coming on. We got the first new Brujeria album coming out since 2016. Esto Es Brujeria, or Esto Es Brujeria. Was this just sort of like picking up where you left off after your previous album, Pacho Aztlan, or was this meant to?
Aztlan.
Yeah, was this meant to sort of be like a new beginning for Brujeria?
Well, it's like the last one in 2016 was like Trump. Trump became president and had a lot of things to talk about. So that got us into recording mode again. And then this one's just like a little follow up of things that are happening now. Internet stuff and politically correct stuff and things like that. A lot of good subjects came up. So this one came out pretty quick. Like COVID set it back a couple years, but we got through that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we barely made it through it, but I was going to ask because there's, with all the bullshit that was happening in 2020, a lot of the bands that have been very politically charged, and Brujeria is definitely a politically charged band. I was wondering, and I feel like it's kind of tasteless to ask, but I was wondering if bands like you or, a lot of other bands in that political realm were getting some inspiration from everything that we've been going through the last couple of years.
Yeah, it really, it's like things like the deep state. We got a song, Estado Profundo, is deep state. Subjects like that get me interested, and there was a lot of stuff to go on. And so this one, just kind of came out of it without really thinking of it. Mm-hmm. But then the Trump era, we had a couple singles of Trump songs going out, and I got in a little trouble with that with the Secret Service, and they came to my house with bulletproof vests and guns, one at a time with a single in their hand. So things like that motivate you.
Did they ask for your autograph? Is that why they came over?
Yeah, on a form saying that I could be admitted into Guantanamo at any time they want.
Oh my God! So
they wouldn't leave till I signed it. Yeah.
Wow. Are you okay though? For real? Like, no joke. Are you all right and everybody's okay?
Yeah. No, I told him I've been waiting for him. I go, well, hurry up, take me in and make me rich.
Right.
I want to be on CNN. I want to be on CNN right now. And that's when it stopped.
Yeah.
When I had that angle, they just stood up and said, all right, we're out of here.
Yeah, right. They were like, oh.
He got it. Let's go.
They were probably like, oh, great. Another guy trying to promote his band. God damn it.
Yeah, well, there was what's that comedian? I forgot her name. Kathy Griffin.
Kathy Griffin, yeah.
Yeah, she ripped off with, like, we had the Trump head. Before he was president, I was holding a Trump head in my hand. Before he even got elected. And then she ripped it off, did the same thing and she got hung out to dry. I go, that's my hanging out to dry. I mean, that was supposed to be me. And but they really murdered her,
Yeah.
But we were ahead of the game on stuff like that with Trump. And a little trouble, but no big deal.
Do you feel that the first single that we heard, because I had the privilege of hearing this new album early, and again, it is so awesome. I think it is some of Brujeria's best work. But for people who haven't heard the album yet, do you feel like the first single that we got so far, Machado, is maybe a good representation of this whole album, or is there a lot more to be discovered and a lot more tricks and twists?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot more. I think that one's like track number 10. It's like one of the dog tracks, but it's also one of my favorites with the intro. Have you seen the video with the intro?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I just heard the single.
Oh God! All right. Well, if you know who Nick Barker is and Shane Embry, their little video of them in the intro doing some bad stuff. Let's say, and then that's the intro that you hear on the song, like my eyes, that part.
Yeah. Oh wow, okay. That's
yeah, it's good when you see it. It's a good one.
I feel like there's also a lot to celebrate for Brujeria today, because this year marks 30 years since the debut. And I'm honored to say that I'm the exact same age as your debut album, Matando
The songs
Gueros.
are older than you are. That's what I tell the people at the shows. I go, these songs are older than you are.
It's funny. I interviewed Dino Cazares multiple times. Love that guy. Huge supporter of the show. And he's and like I would always troll being like, yeah, Fear Factory came out before I was born. Good times, man. Good times in the womb when that first record came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a long time.
Yeah. But what was the sort of mindset going into the making of the debut album? Because, the music has always been politically charged and whatnot. So what was going on during the years of, like, the Clinton administration with Matando Gueros that sort of inspired that?
Okay, the Matando Güeros, the thing behind that was years of racism and things against Mexicans, that were going on. It was really, really strong back then. Like, not now. It's like you can't get away with saying anything without people getting on you. But back then, it was open. It was normal. It was it was smiled upon. Talking bad or treating Mexicans bad, and that years of pent up stuff just came out in that record, and it's really charged. A lot of energy in that one. But the subject was years of, since I was a kid, being the guy getting, discriminated, all that stuff, being the brown guy in the crowd. That all came out in the first one with a lot of intensity, let's say. And I mean, people heard it and they know what it's about. They understand it, and it hit them hard. And that's been 30 years. I mean, that record now I don't think would make much sense, but back then it just broke through the door.
Well, when you put out the record from 2016, I think that album also aged like fine wine. And I'm not like saying that like it's a good thing, because racism is fucking evil regardless of when it is. But like I think it kind of made sense to bring some songs from that album back then too.
Yeah. I mean, it's around, but back in the old 30 years ago, it was really like saying Matando Güeros, let's kill the white guy, was really something that no one's heard or thought of. It's just coming right at you, and it's not meant in a bad way. It's like really kind of a joke thing, like, yeah, let's go, and but some people took it hard, and it worked that way. Another way, the first day it came out on Roadrunner Records, it got banned in 25 nations the first day. And they said, we're shipping it back. We're not selling this shit. And then like 30 minutes later, they call back, we're shipping back the whole Roadrunner catalog.
Oh, wow.
Everything Roadrunner is going back. And that's when I got a call at 6 a.m. and they're screaming, what the hell's that record say? Like, whoa, would it sell 1 million or what? No, it's banned. And oh, jeez. I had to translate it all like in an hour, and get to the lawyers, and all that stuff was going on the first day. Cool. And to me, it worked.
You made a statement. People definitely did not forget about that album.
You couldn't make a heavier statement. Like the whole label's getting shipped back. I go, oh shit. Because they didn't put it. They didn't put a sticker on it. A parental sticker back then was like a new thing, and they didn't put it on our record. I go, why? I mean, look at the head. Mm-hmm. And they said, no, it's in Spanish. No one cares.
You didn't get a visit from Tipper Gore?
No, she stayed away from us then. But Germany and Europe, a lot of countries went nuts with that cover and what it meant. Like they translated it, and right away it was the end of the world.
Yeah, well, I think Germany should be the last fucking place.
Right.
As somebody who has my whole ancestry wiped out from them. So.
Oh boy, yeah. But that's some bad stuff going way back.
Yeah, and but it's weird because there's a fellow band was a fellow band on Roadrunner that had a song called "Kill All the White People," typo negative. So I'm surprised that they didn't get this, or that at least not that I know of, that they didn't get. Or was that Carnival?
Well, they're white guys. So they're white guys.
Yeah.
You're saying from a couple brown guys, and it's a serious thing.
Yeah, talk about double standard. Why do you feel, though, because, there's been politically charged music from all generations of all styles. So the style that we hear from Brujeria, why do you feel like that was always the best style to sort of get your point across?
Well, the style of it was, there is no style. It was like, we have get everybody together for a weekend, and we got to write and record an album. And it just came out. I mean, we used like a $15 an hour studio, with an 8-track, tape thing to record, and we just slap songs together quick in one take. That's it. You're good. And the first few records came out that way in a hurry, and we didn't. It wasn't like a planned style. That's just the way it sounded when it came out. And the Spanish thing was new. Like the singing it in Spanish gave it a whole different sound from English. Like if I sang it in English, it wouldn't work at all.
Yeah.
But in Spanish, it just hit with a, you know, I don't know what to say. It just hit harder than it could have in English.
Well, every band that sings in a foreign language, like Rammstein, for example, my mom being from Germany,
Right.
she actually translated Rammstein lyrics for me one time. Oh my God,
Yeah.
they are awful in English. Like just like horrible. Like it makes no sense even in English, but in German it sounds great. Another band from Japan, Durengray, one of my favorites. I would never want those lyrics translated. So I think it's actually I think it is actually very good that it works well. But with the name Brujeria, which translates to witchcraft. What was the sort of, and I never like ask what the meaning of the band name is, but politically charged music addressing real issues, but calling yourself that's something rooted in fantasy. Was there a specific reason why you were called Witch and not something more politically charged like a Rage Against the Machine, for example? You know what I mean?
Well, our stuff had the more dark end of it, and because there was a cartel in the border in Matamoros, Mexico, over there by Brownsville that was sacrificing, you know, white people to protect their drug cartel stuff, and that was like, whoa. I mean, if anything from Mexico is going to scare you, it's going to be something like that. So we took up in their footsteps, you know, the cartel, you know, the Mexican satanic cartel, and making music, and with no internet back then, boy, that thing hit like a ton. It's like it couldn't be better. And then the word brujeria is like, it's a common thing in Mexico and in Spanish. Like you say brujeria and it gets their attention, like something bad's going to happen, like they believe it. And it was like a heavy word back then to say. You can't say brujeria and not get people scared. So it's like we put that with the cartel together, and boy, man, it just raged through Mexico, you know, because we never played a show until 2002.
Yeah.
You know, it was all just word of mouth. Like, here, check this cassette out, check out this vinyl. And it just spread like wild like that. Just, you know, no shows, no interviews, no nothing.
Do you feel like, because, you know, with the usages of masks and the usages of like this imagery, have you always thought that maybe like within Brujeria you all in a way, because, you know, you had a member called Assassino, which we all know who that was. You had Maldito X, who was a vocalist at the time, and even now with Fantasama and Hongo. Have you always felt like you are portraying like alter egos or characters outside of who you are in your personal life?
Right. The nicknames give a lot of what the person, you know, what they're like and what the, you know, so on. And yeah, I told guys, like, what I'm singing about, you're not going to want to be part of. Like, don't use your real name, especially because we had Billy Gould of Faith No More was original member, and he was already signed on a label, so we couldn't use his name at all. Like, you know, we can't use his name. He's signed. Everybody else had no band, no nothing. So, but we used. I said, well, just cover up the names. We use our make up some names to go forward, because like what we're going to sing about, it's not going to be like something you want to be attached to.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, was that like at all inspired in a way? Were you looking at like black metal bands? Because I guarantee if I showed people just the list of the lineups names in a way without mentioning anything about the band or even what the band's called, to be like, oh, this band must be like Mayhem or Emperor or Satyricon.
Right. No, well, actually, what inspired the whole thing was back like in 88, 89, a band called Terrorizer was going around. It was like three Mexican guys that, you know, in Terrorizer, and nowhere in LA, no club in LA would give them a gig, because their following's crazy, a bunch of, you know, crazy looking Mexicans, and you know, they couldn't get a gig, so they played a house in like the east side of LA at a backyard, and me and Dino went, and Fantasma went. You know, we just went there. This, you know, before we had anything going, and we went there, and we noticed that there was no one there that spoke English. It was all Mexican guys that they didn't speak English. You know, it's in LA, and no one spoke. You know, they like the music because it's like rah 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 rah. You know, they don't really understand it, but it sounds good. But because man, all these Mexican guys here, they don't speak English. We got to do a band, you know, to make these guys happy. And I came up with Brujeria right there, and that's it. I mean, just let's give them Brujeria and let's go. And that's how it started as a terrorizer gig.
One thing that I've always wanted to ask Brujeria, and I'm really glad I get to ask, you know, I've resonated with your music plenty of times because even if I wasn't aware of the subject matter or didn't understand it, as you could tell by my bastardization of all the pronunciations, I'm not good at Spanish, but your music has resonated with me on a personal level. I know people who may even have different political views who resonate with the music because it channels a rage that we feel inside. Does that at all bring a new layer of meaning to the music in a way? Because I didn't have the experiences that you had to deal with, and while the record has informed me as I took up interest in the band, you know, I was listening to the music as just, you know, a punk teenager who was fucking angry and hated the world. But I didn't have any of the, you know, I grew up in the suburbs, upper middle class family, you know, not even close. So I was just wondering, like, how do you feel if people who may have not have had your experiences also still resonate with your stuff?
Well, if it gets their attention, that's good. You know, because it's the reason it's strong and it feels strong is because it's real. I mean, it's like these are a lot of real stories these songs are about, and when it's real to me and it's heavy, I get it across. And even if you don't know Spanish, you're gonna feel or sense something heavy, and that's why really it worked. It was easy for us to do that with the music, and then the words going to the music. It just nailed it, what we wanted to get across, and it worked. And like I said, it all got circulated by word of mouth. You know, handing over a tape and stuff, and right away people got hooked and stuff. And you know, it's amazing. I never thought it would get reaction like that. I knew it would get some bad reactions, but never that it would spread like that, like, you know, getting fan base and stuff. And, you know, and here it is 30 years later, still going.
Yeah, and it's still strong. I've had the privilege of seeing Brujeria many times, and it's always just a fantastic live experience.
Yeah, it's that people leave happy. You know, it's you know, it's a good thing. Our shows they're fun.
Yep, and the show that you did with Cattle Decapitation at Gramercy and Pinata Protest and Billy Club Sandwich opening up, I made so many friends at that one show that I still keep in touch with today. So the results of all the anger that's channeled into your music, at least from my experience, has led to love. So.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's like the fan base goes, and they're all buddies. You know, you don't know them, but everybody there is a buddy. They know what they're, you know, what they're about, what they like, and it just works that way. And the shows are fun. And you know what? By the way, we're going out with Pinata Protest again in November.
I already have that marked on my calendar. So.
All right, you know, they're great. You know, with them and us, it's a great, you know, it's a great show all around. I mean, you get everything.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of great freaking bands. One band you should look up. That they're not Spanish, but they really are like a very anti-racist band. They're coming here in September called Unity X. It's like Unity TX. I recommend checking them out. They're really cool too.
Where are they from?
I think they're from Texas.
But good.
Yeah. So they're definitely a really good, like, you know, they basically express a lot of similar messages that you guys have. And, you know, have expressed.
Yeah, if they're from Texas, I know they know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, on either side, I know what they know what they're doing.
Damn right. To use this material to, you know, and to use these experiences of all the pain and suffering that we've all had, it's obviously very cathartic to make music about it, and it's good that you make music about it to inform it. But when you have to, like, use this as the fuel behind your fire in a way, I've always said that when darkness or agony is the source of inspiration, sometimes artists can become victimized by their own product, as I called it. Has the songwriting process been just as deteriorating, having to confront all that stuff, as it's been cathartic in a way?
Well, it depends on the subject. If it's like Trump, it's like all out. You know, I really don't like the guy, and the message gets across kind of heavy. Where the Secret Service is at my house, you know, but other things I hold back. I'm not trying to get, like, you know, scare people to death. But I do want to bring up the point, you know, of what I'm talking about's there, and, you know, and notice it. but I'm not trying to go out there and, because we could probably make things like, really scary and ugly. But we just struggle. We have a line where let's make it a little more funny than it is horrific.
Well, what I've found is because sometimes there have been bands, political or not, that they do come off as edgelord and like trying too hard and being shock rock. Even with the imagery and the intensity of your sound, I would never consider Brujeria to be a shock rock band. It's not like I'm getting the same reaction as if I was like seeing Marilyn Manson or Alice Cooper for the first time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
right.
like,
Now the goal of our stuff is like you get one song and then a white guy hears it that doesn't know Spanish. It's like, wow, that's heavy. And then he takes it to his Mexican friends and, hey, what's this say? And the Mexican guy either gets scarred and like, this is horrible, or he starts laughing so hard he can't talk.
You just
so try to get that laughing part of it is fun. Like, one guy's scared of it, the other guy's laughing really hard.
You described my Brujeria journey when I was in high school, showing that to people.
Yeah, and what they say, and this is scary, and some of them laughed, and some of them got scared. And
you really want to know the truth? I brought it to my Spanish class.
Oh, go! You're a prime. You're a prime example. Then you're an A1 example.
I'm honored.
Straight to the Spanish teacher.
Yeah. Hey, I did get a good grade on that assignment, so.
That's great. That's what we want. You're exactly what we want. Take that to the Spanish teacher, see what happens. And did he laugh or did he get mad?
She was like, "This is."
Oh, she. Oh, got it.
Yeah, we were like assigned. I did this with El Nino as well, and like I played it for her, and she was like, "It doesn't surprise me that you have that you enjoy this because I was wearing the metal shirts and all this. I will never listen to this for the rest of my life, but I'll give you a B." So
you're lucky because the women really they hang us out to dry without even listening. One word and that's the end of it.
Yeah. Well, I did the assignment, so.
Let me tell you a little story.
Please.
Back when the singles were coming out in like '94, the old El Patron, the old Machetazo singles. That one was with a dead person on the cover of the single. Tom Araya got one from somebody we know in Hollywood, and he played it and he goes, "Wow, this stuff is crazy," in Spanish, and it sounds horrible, recorded all cheap and 8-track, and he was like, "Wow," and so he called his sister in the room, and his sister knows Spanish, so he played it for her, gave her the cover, and she was like, what? And she just got the turntable, opened up the turntable, got the vinyl and the cover, opened the door of the house, threw it out of the house, locked the door, turned around and told him, "Don't listen to that. Don't listen to that." And Tom Ryan was like with his jaw dropped, like scared, like, "What the hell is that? What just happened?" And he went back to the person who gave him the single, goes, "Oh man, that thing really scared the shit out of my sister. She threw it out of the house. I didn't go get it. I left it out there." And she goes, "Oh, Brujo, he's the nicest guy you'll know, man. He's not nothing like that." He's like, "What?" I was summoned to go meet him. I went to a Slayer show. He gave me backstage and all that. I got to meet this guy.
That's amazing. If you're shocking Slayer, you're the most metal band in the world, just hands down.
Right. So. His sister got so scared she threw it out of the house, locked the door.
That's amazing. That's my favorite story I've heard. I've done almost 1,900 interviews now, and this is my favorite story I've heard. So thank you.
I could see Tom's face. I was like, "Huh?" With his jaw open, scared. Like, what happened to my sister? Oh man, that's the most classic example of what we do.
That's amazing. You have time for a few more questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, cool. When you sing a song, depending on the subject matter, if it's more rooted in experience versus like more rooted in like research or something like that. So if you play stuff off of a Bruismo or you play stuff off of Raza Odiada, again, apologies. Does it resonate with you differently depending if it's more rooted in experience or not?
Well, they're all like that. They're no. What do you say? Investigate, or what's the word you use?
Research.
Yeah, no, there's no research in any of these.
Okay.
This is all experience, and our relatives crossing the border, jumping the border illegally and showing up at our house telling us the stories they go through. I mean, that you can't research that. I mean, things like that going on, and there's no research. It's all experience or people's experiences that we know about, and that's it. It goes.
Okay, because I interviewed a Refused before the world ended in 2020, and they say like sometimes a lot of their stuff, and not to like knock or like argue the realness, because I think Refused is one of the best to ever do it, but they're from Sweden, okay, and I think compared to what you had to go through, I don't think it even compares. So like part of me wonders if like if you're making this politically, they admit that there's a lot of research. They look at a lot of Medium. They send each other articles and stuff like that. So I
Oh
was
wow. Yeah.
wondering if like maybe if it's not rooted in experience, if that takes away the realness of it, if you know what I mean.
No, no, our stuff is all real. Yeah, there's no research. The only research you get, like maybe going to jail for a while, is research. You know, there's no looking at. There was no internet at the beginning. There was no internet, nowhere to look for this stuff. Hey, oh wait, I'm wrong. There was one place. There was these old Mexican magazines that would come out every week, like like newspaper type magazines, called Alarma, where they show like dead bodies and accidents, and and every week they'd have a whole magazine full of dead bodies and murders and stuff like that in Mexico. And that's like where the Matando Güeros cover head came from. It was a cover of that magazine one week. So there was a source of, and it was, the Spanish was so bad nosed, it was like, whoa. But they were really popular. You get it for 10 cents every week, and a lot of kids in America learn Spanish through those things, and just to see that, well, what's this what's this person cut in half about, and it'd be like that. But that was the only source you had until the internet came out. Mm-hmm. So those magazines, we did have some, like Machetazos would be one that some chick that got killed with a machete, they hacked up her face. That's on the cover of one of the singles. That one was researched, because we had to read to see how she died, and that the research was reading those magazines back then.
Oh God, that must have been. I mean, I
don't know. Man, to find those magazines is like finding a Playboy. When you're a kid, you're like, oh, what's this? And they just hit. You didn't have to know Spanish, whatever. You just got that, and you just paged through it. Great stuff.
And when it comes to your live shows, as somebody who, again, I think like the level of entertainment, because when I first saw you at Gramercy Theater, it's a relatively small, intimate venue, but like you made the stage almost like something you would see at like a Slipknot concert, with like how massive it is, but you also have such like a punk rock stage presence. Do you almost like have to practice stage presence or crowd interaction as much as you have to practice the material?
No. I mean, that's just how it comes out, I guess. There's no practice. And then sometimes I forget the words of some songs, so there's no practice there either. But, yeah, no, there's no. It's not trying to set up to do something. It's just the way it is. It's real, I guess. And people just attach to that really quick. Like, I guess they're not used to seeing stuff that's that real.
I certainly wasn't. That was also my first time seeing cattle decapitation too. So.
Oh, good. You got a good. That was a great tour, man. That was really fun.
That was such a good time. I remember the day too. It was October of I think October 16th of 2020 of 2016. So.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I don't remember that far back, but yeah, they're great shows. Like, if you throw in a piñata and a cattle, we had a Cephalic Carnage a couple times. They were great too.
Yeah, I know. I was very mad that didn't come to New York City, but.
Oh, it didn't. Oh, that's a bummer.
No. Well, you know what to do now. Bring Cephalic Carnage to the New York City.
Right on.
Yep. And the final question I wanted to ask you, well, actually, two more, if that's cool. But is there at all, because it's continuing where I left off, is there any forethought that goes into the songwriting or goes into your stage presence, or is it just very like, go right into it?
I guess it's go right into it, because there's nothing like research or whatever you were talking about. It's just like, give me the mic and then start playing, and it just takes off. Yeah, it just comes out. None of it's like practiced or whatever.
And the final question I want to have you, it's like a bonus question based on what you told me earlier in this interview. But if you had Roadrunner being pulled off of record places like what you just told me in Germany, how did Roadrunner release 2 more albums after that?
Well, they put the black cover on the Matando Güeros, but it was like it sold itself. they recouped and it sold itself all the time, and they couldn't say no. I mean, they could have, but I guess Dino Fear Factory took off at the same time, and that made them happy. So they keep Dino happy and Raymond happy. They, they kept Brujeria alive.
Wow.
And because that wasn't Fear Factory. Brujeria was before Fear Factory.
Yeah.
We didn't have a drummer for the first single. We just got who could play drums today, and like, oh, I'll try it. If you listen to the first single, the drums are really bad, and Raymond didn't come along till the second single, and that's when Fear Factory started. Yeah. I think Raymond was like 18, 19 when we first met him up to do Brujeria. I mean, he did Brujeria before Fear Factory, so God, I can't remember how that was. 91.
Yeah, no, it was definitely before my time. I remember Dino mentioned it in a podcast that he did with Doc Coyle, and he mentioned that Brujeria came first, and then Fear Factory, after Demanufacture.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
And then Dino was out of Fear Factory in 2002, and apparently that's when he was like, "Yo, let's make
that's because we couldn't tour Brujeria because Fear Factory got big and went off on their thing, and then Billy of Faith No More got huge, and I didn't see him for 5 years. It's like they just every guy who's joined Brujeria, his other band got famous after. Fear Factory, Faith No More didn't. He said, "I'm quitting Faith No More because it didn't work. Let's do Brujeria." And then a couple months later, Faith No More took off. It's like you join Brujeria and your other band gets huge.
Yeah, and
Dave Pump Death took off. I mean, everybody. Carcass got renewed. Carcass, came back from the dead. Everybody but me.
That makes me kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm the guy wearing the chain with the brick in hell. You're doing Brujeria. That's it.
Wow. I'm very sorry, but hey, the lineup you have now though with Hongo and El Criminal as well as
wait. Let's update. The lineup I have now has changed because Hongo Jr. Nick Barker got sick.
Oh, okay.
And he got kidney failure. He's on dialysis and shit.
Oh, how is he doing?
So he's hanging. He's better now, but he was near death on tour. We took him to the hospital on tour, and he stayed there 2 weeks.
Oh shit.
So I got a whole new lineup, all Mexican guys from around the hood here, and it's the best lineup we've had, I think, since the beginning.
And our mutual friend La Bruja Encabronada. Sorry.
Yeah. She's the witch, the Bruja.
Yep. And
she's great.
Yep.
She's great.
She's awesome.
She's great.
Yeah, I saw.
But she does acting too, so we can't. There's a lot of time goes into the acting end of it, so we can't really take her out a lot of times, but when we do, it's worth it. Oh,
it's totally worth it. And I saw her with her old band, Alakeen's Gun, if you ever listen to them. And
oh, you're from New York. Yeah. She's great.
Yeah, so they killed it. And the last time that they played was opening for Cattle Decapitation as well. So
your favorites.
Yeah, exactly.
Good news.
So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time and for such a awesome conversation. Most of all, though, thank you for your music all these years and this kick-ass new album. Is there just anything else with Brujeria with the upcoming tour that you'd like to promote, if you're allowed to say at this time, of course?
Right. No, just don't miss it. Don't miss it because it's going to be good. I mean, you haven't felt like you won't feel like that in a long time if you miss it.
Yeah.
It's good. You know what it's like. So get people there is good.
The Brujeria baptism. That's what I called it.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. That's the Brujerismo segment. The bautismo.
Yep.
Get baptized into it.
Yep. You get jumped in, as they say.
And the baptism is like a mosh pit with prison guys in there.
Yeah, well, I would not do well in prison. I would be the curtains. If I was in prison, I would be.
You'll learn Spanish.
No, I won't. I would be traded for cigarettes every day. So.
There's a song in this new one that's about a normal kid going to jail, and it's called Tu Vida Loca. It's about they're gonna trade you for cigarettes, and oh man, just what you're talking about is that it's the Tu Vida Loca. It's your crazy life.
Yeah, I would be the guy who just sits in the corner and reads his Bible and keeps my head down.
That's what the song's about. Till they put a wig on you and make you Lady Gaga in jail. A mop head. They put a mop head on you.
Oh God.
The mop head. You're Lady Gaga.
Yeah. Then they'll see my Linkin.
That's what the song's about.
Maybe they'll see my Linkin Park tattoo, and that would kill the mood.
But you know what? You just tell them you're part of Brujeria, and they'll leave you alone.
Really? Okay.
It's a password. It's the password.
This is good to know. This is good to know.
It's good to know. It works, dude. That the only chance you have is that's it.
If I ever end up in Rikers, I will be thanking you every night.
Tell them, hey, Brujeria's my bro, man. You know, it'll stop everything.
Oh, that's so good to know, man. I might have to go take care of some shit now with this info. But thank you so
Right on, bro.
Thank you so much, Juan. Everybody, we are here with Juan of the almighty Brujeria. Esto Es Brujeria, coming out via Nuclear Blast this September. Be sure to pick that up. This is Alex from Heavy New York. Adios. We'll see you next time.
Adios, cabrones.